we woke up and we tried to get out early, but early when we're camping always ends up being 9 a.m., 10 a.m. after we're done cooking and getting everything cleaned up for the morning. And we headed over to a different section of Ozarks National Forest, which was the White Rock Rim Trail is what we were specifically heading to do. And we didn't have too big of expectations, especially after the Chicken Ridge incident yesterday. We didn't let our hopes get too high. So we were just kind of expecting a mediocre trail. Well, we go through some forest roads. My car clutch starts to smell hot. So we get out, check over everything, make sure my car's in good condition. It's wonderful. So I just needed to drive in higher RPM, so I needed to shift down. Easy enough. We continue on, and we're getting closer to the White Rock Rim Trail, and we start seeing the national park signs. When we get up there, then we see that there's a $3 fee per person for the walk or for the day use area, which included the 2-mile around the scenic view of that trail. While we were out on that, or when we went into the store, we saw just your normal camp stuff, but it was set up very nice, tidy. There was a wonderful man that was working at the counter that was well-knowledged with not just about that specific trail in that location, but also many trails of the surrounding national forest, and gave us not only recommendations for like the immediate trails around him, but also for us to come out and try trails further out. So back to the trail, the White Rock Trail. We had gone out on it. We had lunch out there, found an amazing view just off the rock cliffside. It was beautiful. There was quite a few like shelter areas and benches throughout. There were some old water, like faucet, drinking fountain areas throughout this trail, which was just bizarre, being how remote it is. So we continue hiking. We stopped quite frequently to look because the views were breathtaking. They were amazing. So we finish up that trail, which ended up being 2.5 miles by the time we were done. We packed up from there and we headed over to this area that is called Train Trestles Falls. We went to the day use area for that and looked around. It looked very beautiful and mystical, but it does look like it hasn't been maintained very well. It doesn't look like it's used very frequently, but once again, it had beautiful views. This was definitely a surprise when we arrived to this part of the national forest, because we just didn't expect to see any. So we had actually had no expectations for this, as we had just drove 44 minutes on national forest roads to get to this trail. We didn't expect to see like anything set up, such as the campground that they had, or the toilets, or that little store that I had mentioned, and especially not these full out cabins that had running water, bathroom, kitchen, bedroom, and like a general living area. They looked so nice. The views were amazing from them, and they were only $125 a night, which is pretty reasonable, especially when you consider how much an Airbnb costs or a hotel room. I mean, I'd much rather stay at one of those cabins with those beautiful views. So then we ended up driving over towards this train trestle trail, and we wanted to get to the campsite with a little bit more light than we had been getting to campsites the last few nights. So we set up around 4:30, I would say. And we're gonna go check out the Train Trestle Falls tomorrow. And we're also recommended to go check out the swimming area that's easy to access behind Phillips Cemetery. We know nothing about these places, but we hear about them as we go, so we'll keep you updated. What's this for? Obviously water. I have nothing more to tell you, but they're very frequently around this trail. Through my investigation, people didn't carry water bottles back in the day. They had to rely on this.